Welcome back to the channel, guys. So about a month ago, I did a starting over video, basically a thought experiment. This was in that video. It's not going to be in today's, just so you know. But it was a thought experiment where if you had to start over, you had no knives, what would you do with $500? The parameters in that video was 4 knives for $500. This was kind of my Goldilocks star of the show, my, main one, the most expensive one. A lot of people really enjoyed that video. They gave me their own options. Some people vehemently disagreed with me and said that my knives weren't big enough, which really hurt my feelings. No, I'm kidding. But I thought it was cool. And there's no right or wrong answer there. It's, what kind of knives do you need for your life? What do you like? And it's just a fun way to think about your knife collecting. So I wanted to do another version of that. We're probably going to do a high-end one at some point too, like $1,000 for 4 knives or 5 knives. But today we're doing 3 knives for $250. I almost went with 4, but I thought 3 was the sweet spot for $250 and definitely opens up some interesting possibilities. So I'm going to give you the winners here, but then after that, I'm going to tell you what I almost chose. Now, the reason I went with these 3 here is that I really wanted an American-made knife, a USA-made knife, in my 3 knife collection here. That was the hard one, right? You can get knives with really good steel that are a bit cheaper. And so, if we're looking at budget, sometimes that might make sense. So it really depends. Do you care, about having a USA made knife? Now, I went with the Hogue Mysto. You could totally go with the Kershaw Bel Air series, the Bel Air XL. I'll tell you the main reason I went with the Mysto over the XL is just aesthetics here. My other 2 knives aren't super dressy, and I wanted something that maybe had a little bit fancier look to it, for that sort of gentleman's carry. But you still have a really good size blade on this one. So, like I said, you could totally go with the Bel Air series if you like that more. I almost did. Just the Bel Airs are a bit more utilitarian looking, a little more simple. And I really like how Hogue dresses up the Mysto. It's got that topographic pattern. It's this rich light paper micarta. It has blue thumb studs on this as well. Love the way they did their pivot. Also, really nice stone washing on their blades as well. MagnaCut, the HRC on this is fantastic. It's around 63. There's what that side looks like. Hogue USA. It is a crossbar lock. Your pocket clip, a pretty deep carry clip. And oh man, I had some pocket fuzz in there. So it shows that I carry this quite a bit. Love the standoffs. There's what the standoffs look like, those skeletonized liners. But I would say, the Bel Air is probably a little more heavy duty. The G10, the Proud liners, it feels like it's maybe a little more heavy duty, so keep that in mind. But for my day-to-day use, my Goldilocks knife, could totally be happy with this one. Nice looking spear point blade, came super sharp out of the box. Ergonomics are fantastic on this. Pretty aggressive jimping. Your hand really locks in. I wear size XXL gloves, so keep that in mind. This knife's not necessarily small. I would call this a medium, size EDC knife. As far as length goes, it's about the same as the Kershaw Bel Air XL. Ambidextrous, of course, I have it in the left pocket carry. About a 3.5-inch blade. Cutting edge is like 3 3/8. Overall length about 7 7/8. So not a, super small knife, but it carries really small. Not a very tall blade. The handle's fairly thin, but it still feels really good in the hand. You got some contouring. It's just a fantastic knife for the money. And I've seen these go for anywhere from like $150 up to $175. Sometimes like $145, if there's a big sale. But for this exercise, we'll just say it's $175. Oh, also, this does have phosphor bronze washers. I just tightened the pivot down a little bit recently, so it's a little bit tighter than it was, but you can get really nice action out of this. About a medium when it comes to the spring tension there. So that's going to take most of my budget. We'll call it $175. And of course, we got to throw in a Miguron. And this is the Karok. You're looking at like $37. The reason everybody's talking about these knives so much from Miguron is their D2 steel, and they're hitting 62 to 63 HRC. Now with D2, when the HRC is that good, the hardness is that good, you're getting edge retention that's up there with super steel, stuff like S30V, things like that. Might not be as tough and definitely not as corrosion resistant, but as far as just pure, edge retention, something that's going to have a good edge for a long time, this is up there with some knives that are way more expensive. Some people don't like the look, but it actually is very, very useful as far as the blade shape goes. It's pretty ergonomic for me. You got this nice ramp here with jimping. Call it like a reverse Tanto, modified sheep's foot, something or other, but it's a useful blade shape for sure. Aluminum handles, and if you don't like the splatter, which I'm not super crazy about the splatter, they do have like G10 versions that are a solid color. Also upgraded titanium versions that cost a bit more. So there's what that looks like next to the Hogue. The Hogue is a little bit longer blade, a little bit longer overall. Also, if you just vehemently don't like the Karok, you could go with their Thali, I think it's called, Thaly. Thali, tomato. This one does have a crossbar lock, little bit shorter knife, but more conventional looking. Clip point design has that same steel, very, very slicey. Very ergonomic as well. Love the way they did this right here, almost like a poon action there where your finger just feels really locked in. Also aluminum scales. This one does have a wire clip, which I like. And it's a fantastic knife. Also around 37 bucks. So the Karok and this one, both around $37. That's why everyone's talking about these. It's the mixture of the high HRC blade steel, the D2, cryo-treated D2 they call it, and the price. If you're just going straight up by, what you get for the money, obviously blade material-wise, handle material-wise, the QC, the way it's built, there's not much out there that's a better deal than Miguron right now. They're kind of the kings. And what's great about that is that they're going to push others to, then do what they're doing. So I'm not on my third yet. So just keep that in mind. I'm just saying, if you don't like the Karok, you could go with the Thali here. I'm picking the Karok because I already have a crossbar lock right there. And I actually like this blade shape and I love the lock. The button actuated liner lock, very fidgety. You can unlock it like that, or you can flick it out and use the button. And finally, I wanted a fixed blade. And some might be interested with this one because they're not being talked about a ton yet. HX Outdoors Maverick. You can get this for about $33 right now. 14C 28N steel, almost a 3-inch blade. They're claiming 6162 HRC, and these feel fantastic. A titanium nitride coating on the blade there. Really useful blade shape, really aggressive jimping. It feels fantastic in the hands. I can get 4 fingers on it. G10 scales does come in some different options. They have a DLC version of this that's like 40 bucks. One of the best deals I've found in fixed blades. Feels really, really nice. Full tang. Very thick stock there as well. Some people might want a bigger fixed blade than this. I find something this size about perfect, like 2.95 inches. Totally fine for my use case. It does come with this Kydex sheath. You could put an Ulti clip on it for front pocket carry. HX Outdoors seems to be one of those newer brands that's kind of, come onto the scene, and they're putting out some really nice stuff for a crazy value. Like they also have titanium folding knives in that, $35 to $40 range. But 14C 28N, 61 to 62 HRC, if that's true, would love to see these get tested, is a smoking deal and a fantastic fixed blade. So basically you're looking at $33.99 right now on the fixed blade. We'll just say $175, so full price on the Hogue, but you could potentially find this for cheaper depending on sales, things like that. And then $37 for the Karok. So I'm seeing 246 bucks. So, yeah, I came in even a little bit under budget. Some people are going to say I need a bigger knife than that. Give me a cold steel instead. Totally understandable. That's great. I'm saying this is for my use case, what I use knives for. The Mysto is definitely a large enough knife for me to EDC for sure. Sometimes I EDC even smaller knives. And the Karok here is a fantastic budget knife with a really good size as well that is going to have steel that is probably going to compete with the MagnaCut here as far as edge retention, not as far as the corrosion resistance or the toughness, but I have 2 folding knives here with a great edge retention, and then I have a tougher steel fixed blade here, 14C 28N, that's done really well and feels really solid. So now I want to tell you what I almost did. I almost decided to make this a 4-knife thing, okay, and not do a USA-made knife. Instead, the Rat 1.5 here with MagnaCut, also well heat treated up there, 63.5, I believe, when it was tested. So you're going to get just as good a blade performance out of this as you will with the Hogue. Also G10, This one's a little bit heavier, might feel a little more heavy duty and utilitarian, but kind of a dated look to it. You know, they use a lot of screws. Pocket clip's just okay. You can put it to tip down carry though. Liner lock, but it locks up pretty good. And the action's just, you know, so-so. Like I said in my review on this is hands down the best knife you can get for under $100. It goes for around $95. But don't expect it to have that crazy, you know, fidget action that some Kaisers or other brands have right now. It's more of a, you know, knife that's made for work. It's got really awesome blade geometry, and it's just made for, you know, pretty hard use. Even though it's not like the biggest knife in the world. It's a 3.25 inch blade, I believe. So I almost went with that guy. All right. And then because I have more budget, because that one's only $95, I went for the titanium version of the Karok. I bought this one with my own money. They sent me the other one for review. I liked it so much, I bought the titanium version. These ones go for like $57, $58. Still has the same blade. All right. But you now have titanium scales. You can choose, mix and match what you want to do as far as the button, the pocket clip. They have different scale options as well, even some carbon fiber, I believe. So I'm getting the same awesome edge retention, but just a little more dressed up. So I figured because this one's more of a utilitarian knife, I wanted something that looked a little bit fancier and went with this guy. And then I figured, well, 4 knives, we can still do 4 knives here. So I can get these two right here. I can get the Thali right there, and then I can also get the HX Outdoors Maverick, and I'm still under that budget. Now, I know that this video's Miguron heavy. I try to like mix it up and throw different brands in. You know, check out my best budget knives video that I recently did. There's a lot of great budget knife brands. But when we're just talking like dollar for dollar value, and I'm trying to keep within a certain budget, so like a video like this, what else out there is going to give you better value than Miguron right now? For the money, they're the king right now. And I'm sure there's other brands right now that are looking at them and they have their own plans going on, and this is just going to raise everybody's game, which is fantastic. But right now, with their D2, that's 63 HRC, and the pricing on these, you know, a titanium knife for under $60, a aluminum knife for under $40, what else out there are you going to get with that good of edge retention, that good of materials, so on and so forth? But like I said, this was the runner-up here. I wanted a USA-made knife. That's important to me. Like I said, you could put the Hogue Mysto, even maybe a Hogue Deca, but I'm not crazy about the polymer scales. Or you could put the Kershaw Bel Air series in there if you wanted to. So the final bosses here are the Mysto, the Karok, and the Maverick from HX Outdoors. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you would do with $250. Try to do it with that 3-knife scenario, but if you wanted to do more, that's great. Some people are just going to say, I'm picking this one $250 knife and I don't want anything else. Totally understand that too, but it's just more fun to have, you know, more than one option. So I'll put links in the description for all these knives that I included in the video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and check out one of my others. That about wraps it up. Until next time, thanks for watching.